Hello, everybody, and welcome to Schubert Alley in the heart of Broadway. Walk down this little street, and you can feel the exhilaration of opening night, the energy of the performers, the excitement of the crowds who know they're about to see something special. Who would have thought way back in 1975 that a musical about dancers auditioning for a show would touch so many of us all across this country, that it would win 9 Tony Awards and a Pulitzer Prize, that it would go on to become the longest-running show in the history of Broadway. A chorus line. After 15 great years, at the end of this month, the final curtain will fall on this singular sensation. So if you never had a chance to see a chorus line, or if you did and you loved it, then stay tuned for an hour filled with song, dance, inside stories, and a tribute to a chorus line, the show that made show business history and the focus of this edition of Geraldo.
Again. Step, kick, kick, leap, kick, touch. Again, step, kick, kick, leap, kick, touch. Again, step, kick, kick, leap, kick, touch. Again, step, kick, kick, leap, kick, touch. Right. That connects with turn, turn, out, in, jump, step, step, kick, kick, leap, kick, touch. Got it? Going on. And turn, turn, touchdown, back, step. 5, 6, 7, 8, turn, turn, touchdown, back, step. 5, 6, 7, 8, turn, turn, touchdown, back step, pivot step, walk, walk. The last part is pivot step, walk, walk, walk. Reviewing from the last turn. 5, 6, 7, 8, turn, turn, touchdown, back step, pivot step, walk, walk, walk. Right. Let's do the whole combination facing away from the mirror. From the top of 5, 6, 7, 8.
Who am I anyway? Am I my resume? That is a picture of a person I don't know. What does he want from me? What should I try to be? So many faces all around, and here we go. Job, oh God, I need this show. Hi, I'm Geraci.
I'm Laurie Gamache. Hi, I'm Roxann Biggs.
Hi, I'm Matthew Pedersen.
Hi, Priscilla Lopez.
Hi, I'm Donna McKechnie.
I'm Donna McKechnie. No, I'm Joe Papp.
And I'm proud to have all these people on my program and to pay a tribute to one of the great shows of all time. To people like Troy Garza here sitting alongside me, who has been with Chorus Line now for 14 years. That's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the most talented dancers on Broadway from the cast of A Chorus Line, and you'll see and hear lots more from them later in the program. But now let me tell you more very special guests. So, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you retire to your seat there? Joe, 6,543,000
6,543,058 people. 6,543,058 people have seen this incredible show that you produced. $277,431,000 in gross receipts.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But now I'm going to read you the review. From Clive, New York Times, the conservative word for a chorus line might be tremendous or perhaps terrific. Walter Kerr, also the New York Times, the accomplishment is brilliant. Martin Gottfried from the New York Post, a major event, purely and simply magnificent. How'd you react when you heard that?
Well, it was one of the few times critics were right.
Now, you know, let me start with Priscilla. Meet Priscilla Lopez, a film and stage actress with incredible talent. She played Diana in the original cast of A Chorus Line. She brought down the house when she sang What I Did for Love. In the middle, of course, Donna McKechnie, who won his Best Musical Actress for her performance as Cassie in the original cast. Her solo of the music and the mirror was spectacular. And the man who produced The Chorus Line, who quite literally let it happen, Joe Papp, the producer of the renowned New York Shakespeare Festival. The festival has been called the single most important and flourishing theatrical institution in the entire country. Let them hear you. Appreciate it. Donna, did you know when you read those opening night reviews that history was in the making?
Not quite, no. Nobody could have known that. It was so thrilling, though. It was very exciting to open at the Shubert Theater in 1975, was it?
In 1975.
Yeah.
That's right, July 25th.
And we had worked so hard for so long in a workshop at the Public Theater, of course, in the Shakespeare Festival. So it was wonderful.
Did you really, Priscilla, sit around in a group and with Michael Bennett, the director and choreographer, put this thing together? Experiences?
Yes, we did. I mean, when we met one snowy February night, no one really knew what it was going to be. It was just dancers getting together, dancers who had been working on Broadway and had maybe gone on and done some other things besides dancing, and were trying to find common ground. And so we all met down in some exercise place on 3rd Avenue and danced for about an hour. Then we retired into another little room and sat around in a circle, pretty much in the order that we wound up on stage in the show, and for the next 12 hours spoke about our experiences as being dancers, and you know, it was recorded.
Your number, I Felt Nothing, was so cute. I remember that was the time of method acting, and everyone said you had to really feel your part. You have to feel like a tree. You have to feel like a building. And you sang this song, I Felt Nothing. Is that based on personal experience?
That was, and it's really amazing because when it happened to me, it was one of the most devastating things of my life, and it turned around, and to become one of the most positive things was just a gift. Truly a gift, and it was kind of like an exorcism of the experience, you know, getting it out and getting rid of it.
Wasn't Broadway in 1975, Joe, really down in the dumps?
The doldrums, they said, I think, was the word they used. Yes, Broadway wasn't doing very well, and there was nothing new in terms of musicals. But when this came along, this sort of broke a tradition. It introduced a musical with, people thought no scenery, but scenery cost a lot of money. It looked like there was no scenery. But it introduced a concept that had never really been investigated on Broadway. Broadway has always been known as the happy-go-lucky hoofers, the dancers, the gypsies. And suddenly, the lives of these people were being examined through their own mouths and through their own heads. And it was quite moving. The first time I saw the first run-through of the thing, I cried because it was so moving. But it was quite a delicious thing. But without Michael Bennett, who really had a sense of how to organize this material and make it dramatic and interesting and beautiful, there would have been no chorus line. You
know, I notice in preparing for today's program, when people talk of Michael Bennett, they still use the present tense, Donna, as if he were still here. He, of course, passed away in 1987. Why is he so much still present in people's minds?
I just think he lives on, you know, in his work does. And, of course, I was very privileged to do a few companies since the opening, and in different countries, and he's touched so many people in ways. And I know people who knew him and loved him, and knew how much he loved creating shows and loved life. That's how I will always think of him. I think people, I'm not alone in that.
Well, he was a very strong force,
yes,
you know, personally and creatively. And when you came in contact with him, you knew it. And it's something that just got into you, and I think will remain with whoever he's touched for the rest of their lives.
Now, Donna, in your case, of course, was more profound than in most. You married Michael. It was almost as if, as I recall the news in those days, and I was working in the business, had a show called Good Night America. I remember seeing Chorus Line twice in that time frame. When you married him, it was almost like the Sean Penn Madonna wedding of,
please, I hope not.
of your day. But it was so much,
I know
so
what you
public,
mean, yes.
and
I
everyone
know. That's
participated.
unfortunate in some ways, but it kind of goes with the territory, as they say. But we were friends, you know, for years, and we had a great working relationship. And the shame of marriage is no one wants to get divorced when they get married, I don't think. But after the fact, we were able to become friends again and have the respect that we always did, you know, professionally. And that's a great compensation for me. But yeah, it's hard in show business, I think, with those kinds of things. But, you know, people really, you know, kind of hear about it, and it's sensational for a while, and then it kind of goes away.
Is it true that you two met as dancers on Hullabaloo?
Yes,
That's really, that's...
I did the jerk with great style, they said in one review. How do you do that?
All right, let's jerk our way into a commercial break here. Much more of these, you know, inside stories, perspectives, how this show touched their lives, how it affected this city, the whole Broadway establishment, and Theater Forevermore, the longest-running show in history. It closes, unfortunately, at the end of this month. This is a tribute to A Chorus Line. Fran, you were the original rehearsal pianist?
That's right.
So you work with Marvin Hamlisch, the composer?
I was his assistant on the show.
So do you think your life will be the same now that the show is closing?
It's been changed by it, that's for sure.
Good or bad?
For the better. I met my husband there. I have a little boy who's 5. And it's like family, you know. It's more than just a show.
Sure is, more than just a show. Now, in A Chorus Line, just like in a real audition, the dancers are asked by the director to do more than sing and dance. They have to tell the director all about themselves and often how they became dancers. Now, here is Matt Pedersen playing Mike.
Okay, Mike, I'll start with you. Why did you start dancing?
Because of my sister, Rosalie. See, I come from this big Italian family. My grandmother's always hanging out of a window, leaning on a little pillow. That's what Italian grandmothers do, hang out of windows. Anyway, I was the last of 12. I was an accident. That's what my sister said. Well, that was her sister, Rosalie. She was the one who started taking dance lessons. My mother would take her every Saturday, and she used to take me along.
How old were you?
4. And I'd sit there all perky and I'm watching Cisco pitter-pat. Said, I can do that. I can do that. Knew every step right off the bat. Said, I can do that. I can do that. One morning, sis won't go to dance class. I grabbed her shoes and tights and all, but my foot's too small, so I stuffed her shoes with extra socks. Run 7 blocks in class. Hell, I can do that. I can do that. I got to class and had it made. And so I stayed the rest of my life. Oh, thanks to sis. Now married and fat. Said I that I can do. I can do that.
Matt Pedersen. Nice job, Matt. Well done. Excellent. All right, we get a commercial break in here. We might as well take it right now, and then we'll talk more with our guests, much more. A Chorus Line of Tribute. to a chorus line. Now, Donna, I remember when, in 1983, A Chorus Line passed Grease and became the longest-running musical in history. You came back, original Cassie came back, as
Yes.
did all the 8
great.
or 10 companies that were out there.
A great party.
But the reason I bring that up is it's how your life seems to parallel the life of Cassie, the part that you played. You know, you were...
I know.
If Cassie
It
was a
would seem
big
that
star,
way.
comes back, needs to get a
We
job.
did not intend it to be this way, but it would seem that way. But really, it's not. I guess because it's about show business, that's the, you know, the subject matter. It's the contour of everyone's career, you know, that this happens. But, I mean, to say, if we wrote about a secretarial pool, would it be the same thing? I keep getting this. But, yeah, after the fact, I live in California, and I think the thing that's really different about my life, of course, much of it is different, that character was a composite, is that I'm, you know, not trying to get back in the chorus. I'm doing very well on my own, really, so. Is that an answer to your question? I don't know.
But did the show have everything that you hoped it would for you in your personal life?
Well, it just, well, yes, almost. I did lose out on one thing. I didn't get the Tony. I was nominated for the Tony, but I lost out to my good friend Kelly Bishop. So one of us had to lose. Actually, I really wanted both of us to win. That would have been the perfect ending to the perfect story, tied up in a bow. But it didn't. So if there was any down moment for me, that was the only one.
Well, how did it touch your life? How did it, from the moment you left the performance?
You mean what?
How was your life affected? Yeah, how did it change?
From the show?
Yeah.
Well, it allowed me to compete on a higher level. That's all. I mean, it doesn't ever mean that you stop competing. You know, that's something about this business. You work, and people assume that you get to certain levels and everything's just fine, and it's not. You're just on a more difficult level to compete with, you know, on another level. So you're always competing. It just allowed me to have visibility, to make people who I was, and to allow me to get into circles that I was not at that point into. I had opened way to Los Angeles and television shows and talk shows. I mean, suddenly people wanted to talk to me and find out about, you know, Chorus Line in my life. And so it just brought a lot of attention to me and allowed me to take another step.
See, with many of us, too, I think that this will always come up with us because so many of us have gone off and done other careers. I mean, we're still doing what we've always done and always. Any project, as you know, it's always a baby, a new beginning. So you're constantly proving yourself, if not at an audition, in a new production, right, show? And
is that, Joe, why the universal appeal? You know, because most of the 6.5 million people who have seen it have no real personal involvement in show business, but everyone has gone for a job, everyone has been tested, everyone has had to compete.
I think the job factor is certainly one of the most instrumental things in having people identify with this show. I think, but most so well put together, and it was always so well done. I mean, you can want to say anything with the show, but unless it's done in a remarkable way as the show done, it wouldn't work. But there's no question that was universal, and the homosexual factor. The young guy who grew up gay, and his story was also a very strong emotional base of this show that I think made it accessible to lots of people.
I'm a big fan of A Chorus Line. I've seen the show 3 times, and it's my favorite musical, and I love it. And then about 5 years ago, I think, the movie came out, Chorus Line. And I hated the movie. And it seems to me that the only people that liked the movie were the people that never saw the show. I was wondering if any of you had ever seen the movie and your thoughts on that.
Well, we went together.
We went en masse,
as a group.
holding hands.
Now, it's also, you know, can I say something?
Yeah,
I hate to interrupt you, but, you know, I had the experience of doing the first English-speaking company in France in 1987. And the thing is, the movie, first of all, you can't compare it to the play. It's a very different. They've changed too much.
Don't be too diplomatic here.
Well, I'm trying to say is that the positive thing, it's not our show. I mean, it's not. All the values are different. But in London, the positive, I mean, in Paris, rather, the positive thing is that it paved the way. It was so successful over there that we were finally able to get our show over there.
The story with that actually was that we had nothing to do with making that movie. We wanted to make the movie. Michael was in a deal with Universal to make it originally, but they didn't get on too well, and I can understand why. Tinselland doesn't really fit Michael Bennett. So they never worked it out, and we gave them every opportunity to have people who know the show do the film. If Michael had been around, and he was around at that time to do the show, he would have had a different film. It was a Hollywood film. Had really nothing to do with the smell of grease paint.
Do I take it that you were not a fan of it either?
Oh, certainly I was not a fan of it. I wanted to succeed because there was a lot of money to be made on it had the film succeeded. On the other hand, I wasn't pleased with the film at all.
Mr. Papp, I would like to personally thank you for bringing Shakespeare to New York. And I would like to ask you, with the impending budget cuts, will there still be Shakespeare in New York this summer?
Right, there will be, and some surprising...
Free theater Joseph Papp has put on for years, for hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers.
First, I would like to congratulate, felicitate, and salute each one of you for your fine job. I have a question eating me up. With all of the unemployment here today and people on the street, how do you feel unemployed today?
How do we feel unemployed
Was
today?
anyone unemployed? I don't know.
Go out of business.
Oh.
These were the original cast members. I don't know if they'll be unemployed.
Well, presently, thank God, I'm not unemployed. I'm doing a wonderful off-Broadway show called Other People's Money, which you were all invited to come see. But being an actress is something, unemployment is something that you deal with every day. It's right here. You never know when a show is going to close. You never know when you're going to get your next job. So it's something that is built into the mechanism of working in this business, and you learn to deal with it. Otherwise, you can't exist.
Might I ask one more question? Sure. Is there a fear? Do you have a fear of going broke?
Every day I have that fear.
But that's part of acting, is auditioning, is part of your... You're constantly putting yourself up there to be rejected or accepted.
Well, no, you're constantly putting yourself up there to get a job, not to be rejected, because that's not fun. And I hate to audition for anything I don't want. You know, when the agents used to say, well, go for the experience, I said, I don't need any experience doing that, you know? Just, if I want something, and then I work very hard at the audition to get the job. But, well...
I seen the original show 14 and a half years ago, and I would like to know how long Donna was married to Michael Bennett.
About a year.
1 year, yep. No, he passed away in '87. They were married in '76, right? You're married?
76, yeah, December.
Would he have agreed with your decision to close the show, Joe?
Michael? He was a very practical guy. And if money wasn't coming in, he would be the first one. In fact, he would call me up and tell me to close the show.
How's business now that you've announced the...
It's going way up, and if people want to see that show, they better buy tickets now, because we're almost sold out for the remaining part of the run. We're closing on March 31st.
But there still are a couple of tickets left.
There are more than a couple. There are 4 tickets left.
Okay. A chorus line of tribute. Stay with us. We'll be right back. To a chorus line. One of the questioners asked our panelists how they felt about the peril of being employed with the show closing. Now, they all, fortunately, are not going to be unemployed. Troy Garza has worked on that show for 14 years, most of your adult life. I mean, does that make you insecure now?
Well, sometimes I feel insecure, and usually I don't. I figure that I'll get work. After 14 years of 8 shows a week, working 6 days a week, I'm ready to take a month off, you know, and thank Michael Bennett in the country. And
could have been worse.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up there and watch 650 irises bloom all summer, and after that, I'll start looking for a job. Do you need any assistance here?
We do. A dance captain is what you play, right?
Yeah, I can do lots of things, though.
And I can't dance, so hey, let's... Donna, how have the fans reacted differently to this particular piece as compared to something else you've done?
Well, I've gotten letters over the years of that are quite different shows, like I've done, like Annie Get Your Gun or Can, let's say, where they say, we like your show, we love Irving Berlin, you're wonderful, whatever. And the fan mail from Chorus Line is profound in that people say, this show has changed my life. And in talking to people who've seen it many times, it really has. People who have a sense of hopelessness, perhaps, from all different walks of life and different age groups, you know, because of one executive was dropped after, you know, a whole career, had to start over again, and he was really feeling despair and saw the show and wrote me a letter and said, I was really feeling like at the lowest ebb, and then I saw the show and it gave me encouragement to start a new business, and I want to thank you and your friends. And, you know, these letters are, that's wonderful. That's the show. That's beyond performing, you know. That's the show.
What's the record of the most times a person that you know of has seen a chorus line?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I've lost a few and then being separated from it. But at one point, there was one little fellow that used to come to the stage door and just was a great fan. And at one point, I said, "You're here again?" Again, this was like after 40 times. I don't know where he got the money, but he said, "Yes, I just love the show, and I'll come back." He said, and I said, "Boy, you're really you're an amazing kind of a fan." He said, "Yeah, but I saw you fall off your turn tonight." I said, "That's the last time I'm talking to him." You know, he's probably doing it somewhere now.
Joe, I heard tickets are going up for this, you know, Miss Saigon, going up to $100 for some mezzanine seats. What did you charge when it opened? $8?
Yes, we had, the top price was $15, but you had seats for $8 as well. Times have changed, let's say, the last 15 years.
Really? Movies probably cost $1 then.
Well, movies are up to $7, so there have been increases. But the prices really, because of the whole economic structure of Broadway, are much too high for the average person.
You know, near the end of the show, one of the dancers is injured in the show itself, and it makes the other dancers wonder why they keep on dancing, why they go on. I'd like to introduce Roxann Biggs right now, singing a part as Diana, about this injured dancer. Come on out, Roxann.
Kiss today goodbye, the sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck, the same to you. But I can't regret what I did for love, what I did for love. Look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for love. Kiss today goodbye and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love. What I did for love, what I did for love. Love is never gone as we travel on. Love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye and point me toward tomorrow.
Roxann singing the part of Diana. We'll be right back. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Thank you so much. A tribute to the longest-running musical. Priscilla, you know, as Roxann was singing the Diana, What I Did for Love, I noticed you were mouthing words as the original.
Yeah.
Must touch it, doesn't it?
It does. You know, you always think that I can deal with this. And it always catches me. I'm one of those surprise reactors, and you know, or you walk into an elevator and you hear the music and you go, I sang that song. You know, so it's nice. And she sang it so beautifully. It was really nice.
Any similar sacrifice in your personal life you want to relate to us? Have you done something for love? You married the trombone player.
That was for love. Yeah. I think I'm a really lucky person. I don't feel like I've sacrificed a lot of things. I've been able to have a career and a husband and a family. I have 2 beautiful children and took time to do that and have come back and I continue to work. And I feel very blessed. You know, the sacrifice has been maybe when I was younger as a child, going to the lessons and I couldn't go to the movies on Saturday and I couldn't play and do all of those childhood things. I miss some of my childhood. I was getting something else and I'm glad I did because it helped with the rest of my life.
I was wondering how much practice is involved?
Lots.
How much is lots?
Lots of practice.
Hi, yeah, I was wondering, where did y'all get your schooling? Like, how do you go about, you know, getting on Broadway?
Training? Well, can I say something? Yes. Because I was able to travel around, and there's wonderful dance schools all over the country. And my advice would be to really find a good teacher in what you do, and really study hard. I mean, in anything, you just have to work really hard, and you have to really love it. Because don't be so quick to come to New York. New York will always be here, and it's very expensive. So if you have good training in your hometown, stay with it and get a good education.
I would like to know how you feel to watch somebody else do your song that you originated.
That goes to both of you, actually.
Well, I will. I love to, whenever I can, train people to do the show. I'm not always able to do it, but with the beautiful Cassie on Broadway now, Laurie Gamache, who was just here, I did a company in Japan, and she was the understudy, and I was able to help her. What you do is you train, but then the person really takes it and makes it their own, and then you feel very proud of being able to do that.
I'd like to know, what are your predictions about the next super show to hit Broadway, now that a Chorus Line's...
There's super shows already there on Broadway that are selling out. Phantom of the Opera, a few of the others, Les Mis, all that. What the next American production will be, I think it's still in the wings, but it'll happen.
Is Broadway going to go through a similar doldrum that it was suffering in the mid-'70s? It seemed to parallel the decline of New York City, which economically seems in the offing right now.
Well, things seem to be the same, but they're always different in one respect or another. The times are different. We don't know what's going to happen culturally. You know, Europe is 92 is going to be one huge continent, and there's going to be a lot of interplay of cultures and so forth. If we have to get into that some more. Some of the people here have traveled and gone around and played in various countries, have a good sense of that. I think we're going to be less parochial, less kind of just people who speak one language will speak more than one language. We have to in order to survive.
You know, just hearing a classic like What I Did for Love makes me think of another show that had a couple of classic tunes, The Fantastics. And after it had its time in the big light, it went to a small house, and it's still playing probably 25 years later. Why not do that with the Chorus Line? Why not go back to the public theater or to some little cabaret down in the village?
Well, first of all, Chorus Line was never thought of as playing in a small theater, even though it started working in a small theater. Its conception from the very beginning, Michael's conception, was a big Broadway musical that dealt with Broadway dancers. And I think we've established that. We don't want to retreat at this point. And it would be impossible to survive down there for any great length of time because of the economics. A decent company, you want to pay decent salaries, you'd have to retrogress, and I don't think that's the proper thing to do, even if we could do it.
So you'd rather go out big with a sold-out Broadway?
Absolutely. That's the way to go. Came in that way, it should go out that way.
Okay, Chorus Line, we've got to go out to commercial. Stay with us, Greg. We are back with this singular sensation with Donna McKechnie, Priscilla, and Joe Papp. You know, people are confronted by a series of random chances in their life. In yours, this one has worked out so well, not just for yourselves and the Shakespeare Festival, but really for Broadway audiences, millions and millions of people. Was there, however, ever a time where you thought, Donna, that you didn't want to go through with this, that you wanted to get out?
No, there was never a time that I thought that. But I have a quick thing to tell you. There was a time when this always wasn't a wonderful play. You know, in the beginnings, as I call it, the public theater, we had been working, remember, 14 hours a day, and without music before, it was 4 hours. We called it the Towering Inferno, where each person got up and told the most sad childhood story. After we worked on it, and Marvin Hallish and Ed Kleban came, and we really had something to show, Joe Papp gave us the luxury of having all of his private time, and Michael Bennett could work. Finally, Michael really needed Joe to give him some objectivity. And so Joe and his staff, I remember the day, came in for the first time in the public theater, in that little black stage. And afterwards, Michael turned to Joe in great need and said, "Well, what do you think?" And he said, "It's the greatest thing I ever saw." And so Michael, of course, went, "What good are you to me? Get out of this theater." Of course, it wasn't his theater, but that's a true story. I just confirmed that. I've heard that all these years, and I love that because this was not always the hit. It is now, and it's wonderful to see that people stayed with something very real and worked really hard, and everybody can do it.
Priscilla, should we feel a sense of nostalgia, of passing, of sadness at losing this old friend?
Yes and no. Yes, because it is an old friend, and it's, you know, sort of putting it to sleep or letting it go. But at the same time, it was such a terrific, triumphant friend, and successful and exciting, and it gave so many people so many wonderful dreams and hopes and jobs and futures that I think we're all very grateful for the experience and what it is, and will probably still remain anyway in our hearts and companies to come.
The show, as we've known, doing it in different times, has always been the star and always had a life of its own. It always created the demand, rather. It always did, and that's the only way I guess I defend against the sadness. There will always be people that want to see it, and we'll bring it back.
What about that, literally? Will there be a revival?
Oh, without question, there'll be numbers of revivals. In fact, there are performances going on throughout our country. We're still getting royalties on these things. But I'm sure that there'll be a tour right after. And I just got a call from someone who's the head of the National Theatre of Romania that would like to do a chorus line. Andre Serban, who's been an American citizen, but now they wanted him to head the National Theatre. So I just talked to these two ladies about the possibility of one of them directing that in Romania. So if they're doing it in Romania, they can do it any place in the world, you see, with all due respect to Romania.
They have that one number, and one is what it was called, one singular sensation. We have 20 dancers, but we have 5 great ones, so let's approximate that wonderful number, 1.
Good afternoon. Coming up today on Channel 2 News, the Boys of Summer.
Yes. Dreams come true here, too. Well, we're on Broadway. I just want to remind everyone, if you have a chance to be in New York until the 31st of March to see this fabulous show, there are still, as Joe says, some tickets available. Come on out. Come on, Donna. Come on, Joe. I mean, it really is wonderful. Thank you for being here. This wonderful show, A Chorus Line, the longest show in Broadway history. Unfortunately, closes at the end of the month, but you still got your chance. Thanks for being here, everybody. Joe Papp, Donna McKechnie, Priscilla, Lopez, our wonderful chorus line, our wonderful ensemble playing here. And thank you folks in the audience for being here, you folks at home for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bulletin, bulletin, bulletin. I've just heard from Joe Papp himself that as a result of the tremendous audience response to the announcement that A Chorus Line was closing at the end of March, they have decided to extend its run an additional 4 weeks. So you have until April 28th. That's April 28th to catch the singular sensation. A Chorus Line through April 28th. It's good news.